One. All right. Doing the Everest. Oh, it says we're live. Just do my little Everest pose right there for Coffee Talk. Hi, everybody out there in YouTube Landia. Welcome to January 2022 Wave Coffee Talk. We are so excited that you're here live with us right now on the YouTubes. My name is Dr. Ike. I'm the Executive Director of our Westlake Charter School. And right above me on the totem pole of YouTubeness is our Wave President. Go ahead and introduce yourself there, Ms. Houston.
I'm Amber Houston.
And right above her is our high school principal.
Mrs. Batten.
And at the very top of the column here is our K-8 principal.
Hi, Mrs. Kayau.
All right. Hi, Mrs. Kayau. And hi, everybody in YouTube Landia. Hey, team, let's do what we do. We're here for some coffee talk action. We've got some slides here. On the slides, we have our regular agenda. It says that, we know, as we do with anything we do here, first we celebrate. So we'll dive in and hit some celebrations. Then we'll present some information. And then we will, do a little question and answer throughout the whole show. And we have a special guest tonight. So we'll announce our special guest later on, and they will jump on the show with us, which will be super exciting. But families at home, we'd love for you to celebrate with us. Jen, can you not see the slides? Yeah, I think I did this last month too. All right. Well, hey, families on the YouTube Landia, give me 1 second. I just share the slides. Otherwise, the people on the screen, they can't actually see what you can see. But while I'm doing that, you have an assignment at home. You could jump on to any device and go to wcsinfo.cc/coffee talk, and you can enter in a celebration, and we will read your celebration live on the show here. So if you're listening to the show right now at home, drop in a celebration at that link right there. Hey team, I'll share these slides, and it'll rearrange all of our faces over here, which will be super fun to do. And then, oh yeah, there we go. What could possibly go wrong if I click this button? Now I'll click that button, and there we go. We're all moving around now. Ta-da! And okay, that worked. Let me just slide this little thing over here. You can't see what I'm doing, but people on the YouTubes, you can see what I'm doing. Moving this little chicka right there, and putting this thing over here. Oh yeah. All right. Now that I've totally made a mess of that, let's get the show started. Hey, anybody have a cool celebration to rock before we jump into the slides? Sometimes we like to do just like little celebrations. It's our first time back since break. Maybe somebody wants to celebrate Wordle. I know that you guys are all big Wordle fans. How many rows did you do today? Don't tell me. I haven't done mine yet today. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Mrs. Batten, you got in 1, didn't you? 5. Ooh, it must be a tough word. Anybody got a celebration to start the show off with? Batten, you were kind of throwing a hand up. What do you got there?
Well, for anybody who watched the board meeting last week, the celebration I think I celebrated this at the start of the board report, but I just want to celebrate the first semester, completion of the first semester of the high school. So that happened December 16th. And having, not been in the high school world in a while, that energy and excitement around finishing the first semester, because you'll remember that our first semester of high school means that our high school students have finished a year's worth of 4 classes. So they've got 4 classes worth of credit under their belt, and started 4 new classes in January. And it was a cool vibe. And I can't wait to talk a little bit more about kind of how we ended that first semester and where we're headed next. But I just wanted to celebrate all of our amazing staff and really phenomenal 9th graders who worked so hard to get over the finish line on December 16th.
Yeah, those freshmen were 8th graders like 5 minutes ago. Like, think back to summer, they're 8th graders. Now they have a transcript. Like, they can officially, I'd like to request a official transcript, please. And they have official grades that will go on their permanent record. That's amazing. Anybody else got a celebration, or do you guys want me to just jump to the slides? Kayau, Houston, you guys got anything? Yeah, Jen?
Yeah, I always have a celebration, but I just wanted to celebrate our little kindergartners. So many times that, I've just spent some time in their classrooms recently, and they have come back from winter break, and they are like big kids, and their teachers are even being like, how do we practice to be first graders? And we're learning our first and our last name and how to spell and write them. And I've just seen this group of kindergartners that came, a lot of them didn't have preschool and different experiences because of the pandemic, and they've just grown so much. And I will say to those 112 little people, they are just growing, and I'm so proud of them. And I'm so proud of their teachers that have just done something different than they've ever done. So what a journey kindergarten has had this year, but I'm just proud of them and their little people as they continue to grow at our school. So from our little kindergartners to our ninth graders, there's some celebrations all in between, but it's been fun to watch our kiddos growing and learning at school.
Yeah. I love it. I love Ms. Houston, you got one?
I always do.
I know you
So
do.
I love to celebrate middle school elective. They changed to a new elective today, and my middle schooler was thrilled. And I think it's just really exciting that even with everything going on, our middle schoolers are still having that regular middle school experience. They're having their electives, they get to choose. And so the last elective cycle, my son did the roller coasters, which were fantastic. He was showing me videos that Mrs. Mixits had shown them, like basically just to inspire them, ones that went down, a 2-story house, amazing ones. And then they got to time theirs. And now he's doing sports. So he's getting outside and he's meeting some new teachers that he's never experienced, having a class with. So it's exciting.
Yeah, it's cool. I like the electives too at the middle school because they're kind of short. You're not there the whole year. You're like, hey, I got these cool little quick classes. Hey, my celebration, I celebrated Amber Houston at the board meeting, but on this Wave Coffee Talk, I will say, like Amber Houston, you and all of our families who were able to give real-time feedback and help us as an admin team be responsive and nimble and quickly try to adjust our practices in this particular, in the month of January. This has been speaking of roller coasters elective, what a roller coaster coming back off winter break and the big Omicron surge and just the quickly adjusting practices. But Houston, you and all of our families who've been able to go, hey, Dr. Ike, this is what it looks like over here. And our team's been able to adjust as quickly as possible. We've dropped as many balls as we've ever dropped, but I think, the collaboration piece between families and school is critical right now with as much changes in the air. Hey, Caillou, are there any celebrations in the sheet? Yeah, hit one and then we'll go on the slides.
All right, we have 2 in here, but we have Shuhin Kanemo, and it's a beautiful one, so I'm going to read it out loud. I just wanted to take an opportunity to say thank you to our administrators, teachers, and staff for all the tremendous work they have been putting in. We don't have a choice about being in this pandemic, but I am so grateful that my kids are at Westlake Charter because of the dedicated teachers, staff, and admin team. They've shown time and time again that they are so deeply committed to the health and education of their students. Thank you is not enough for the commitment and sacrifices Westlake Charter has made to keep our students safe. Special shout out for the COVID testing that allows my family to monitor our status. It just brings a layer of relief and certainty during these very uncertain and unsettled times. Thank you again. Thank you for that. That just makes me almost tear up because I'm so thankful for a community that is so committed to our school too. It takes all of us to do this. So thank you for that. Yeah. Those kudos, but right back at you for being one of our families.
Yeah. And it's just, hey, I gotta be honest, in a time when it is really hard. This work is hard right now. Hearing just nice things like, keep it up. Thanks for working so hard. Boy, it means the world to us because, everybody's working really hard. But I agree, Jen, hey, that collaboration with our families is where else would you rather be than right here, right?
Right.
This is a tough time, but it's at least we have our amazing families. You want to do that second one, Jen? Or you want to bring it back?
Yeah. So Carissa Richards Johnson, Shaylin wants to celebrate all of the teachers and staff who are helping out in other people's classrooms. Thank you. That's such a good celebration, and thanks for having it come from a student. Those celebrations of the teachers having to cover for each other, we've tried to make it as happy as we can in the middle of it being a little bit challenging, but people are happy and willing, and so thank you for celebrating your teachers.
Yes, raise your hand. You substitute taught last week. Oh, it was so fun. Houston, I wish we'd get you in there, man. I was a good teacher, but it was a long time ago, and I am no longer a good teacher. I was in 3rd grade, learning about dinosaurs. The kids were teaching me. It was hilarious. What do we got in the slides here? Oh, Houston, will you take this slide?
I would love to. So this was our last Spirit Day. At the very last day, it was that Thursday before we went on winter break. And you can see all of the really fun pajamas. I love the staff pictures. Of course, I love the student pictures. So there was some And there's one from walking school bus. There's some in front of people's homes. And then you have a ton of fabulous staff members there. It's just a really fun day. And we have another one coming up at the end of January.
That's right. Rainbow Day is coming up, right? Yeah, I love it.
It is.
Love it. Hey, you want to talk this one through, Mrs. Caillou?
Yeah, so I'm just so thankful for our Jive partnership. They're such a great asset to our program, and they had this art contest, and we were a little busy right before, and we were like, "Can we make this happen?" And then our art teachers were like, "We will make this happen." And these wonderful student artists were able to produce this amazing artwork, and then we were able to. Amber and team was able to select these art posters, and they are all over our fences in front of our campus, and it just brings so much joy. It's bright, and it shines our students' art and also our teachers. So thanks, Jive, for partnering for us to make it a beautiful campus.
Love it. This is super cool. Super cool. Batten, you got to take this one. This is all you.
I'm so excited about this one. So our Key Club has been chartered. So the Key Club is a national, actually, I think global organization focused on service. And so they are one piece of their arm is that they have high school clubs, and they focus on student service and giving back to the community. And so our Key Club started in August, and I won't take too long with this story, I promise. Mrs. Dowd, our amazing school counselor, is their advisor, and so she began working with them, and they're like, well, we want to be part of the national organization, and we really want a banner. Like, the banner was what they wanted more than anything. The banner is $800, which is, I say that number not lightly, because we were like, well, let's start off and see where we get to. And a partner of Key Club is the Kiwanis Club, and so we reached out to our Greater Sacramento Kiwanis Club, and they said, yeah, we'd love to sponsor your Key Club. So they sponsored our application. And what you're looking at in the picture here is the banner that arrived last week for our Key Club that is now part of the National Key Club organization. So just a huge celebration of Ms. Dowd, our counselor, working with these students, the students for their drive. I'm going to share this story. I had a parent tell me when they were an 8th grade parent last year, tell me, I really am not sure about Westlake Charter High School because there just isn't going to be that club culture, right? Clubs are such a big part of school. And I was like, well, we're going to start them. Students will start the clubs. And she's like, yeah, but then they're not going to be, there won't be that robust club culture. And I just look at this moment where in the first semester of school, we have not just Key Club, but 20 different clubs running on campus. Key Club and our Space for Girls Club receiving national recognition and becoming part of a large organization. I just am, I don't know if it comes through on the screen, but so proud of our entire staff and those students for the work they've done to get to this point. And so just a huge celebration for our Key Club. But their first project was making dog toys for the Front Street Animal Shelter, and they are looking for other projects in the community. So you'll see our Key Club out and about.
I love that you're like, I'm not sure if my pride comes through on the, yeah, no, we can hardly tell that you're proud of the program at Westlake Charter High School. You're like glowing through the screen. I love it. I love it. It's so good.
People are going to see me jump off for a second. My computer, we're having some technical difficulty. My computer's dying. I'm going to go run and grab a charger. I'll be right back, but I can't wait to.
I think I'm right next door. I think I have one for you. Let me, I'm going to put this outside the door. Somebody take over on that slide.
Oh, I would love to. Go ahead. Mrs. Sousa, do you want to take it or you want me to take it?
I'll take it back because Em got one from Mrs. Polanco, our amazing librarian. Thank you, Mrs. Polanco. All right, I'll take it. It's just joyful learning, and it is everywhere right now. And I got to tell you, coming back from winter break, even though the Omicron thing has been what it has been, looking around these OWL projects and this big Explore mural piece that's at the art room of the high school. And there's actually, that's your roller coasters picture right there, Ms. Houston. Just kind of everywhere you look, even though we are all super COVID cautious right now, and we're all getting back to school and trying to figure out what this surge looks like, there's joyful learning in every classroom. In fact, I'm not gonna lie, as the admin team, we're really conscious about like, okay, who's out, where do we need a sub? We're working on the making sure we can sub to fill in classes. And if there's a moment when you're the administrator that feels like, is there a crisis all over the place? Because of each little crisis, of it. It's on your table to deal with. So recently I've been going out and walking around with my little phone and be like, oh, there's not crisis everywhere. In fact, most places look amazing. Most classrooms, I open the door and I go, oh yeah, that's right, you guys are killing it. And so there is joyful learning happening all over kindergarten through ninth grade at Westlake Charter School. And the places where there is crisis is typically wherever I'm subbing. That's the crisis is me. So yeah, joyful learning. I love the roller coaster piece. Mrs. Batten, you guys had the that art robot piece going on where you guys built robots where the robot was doing artwork, and I saw that little video. Just so many cool things happening. So I just want to share that, hey, while these are tough times, it's still Westlake Charter School. Oh, there's the robot art right there. I forgot that slide was there. Yeah,
there it is.
Another great piece of joyful learning. Where was that at, Mrs. Batten? That was in Dr. Galloway's flex block?
Flex blocks. Yep. So as we came back to the semester, we're in a unique period, beginning of the semester where grades had finalized, new classes were starting. So there wasn't really the need for intervention and extension. Dr. Galloway and several of our other teachers brought in some STEM and some other exploratory flex blocks. This flex block is a collaboration between Mrs. Block, our amazing tech TOSA, and Dr. Galloway that has now sparked, of course, an area of interest for our students. And Mrs. Block is going to be, I think, starting a little STEM elective once or twice a month. So, or sorry, STEM flex block. If she's watching right now, she's like, it's not an elective, it's a flex block, not an elective.
Well, she is doing elective at the middle school, which is why, yeah, love it. I love it. All right, well, let's do what we do. Let's dive into some topics. Let's check real quick. Are there any more celebrations in the spreadsheet?
There is one more from Cassie Yang. It says, thank you to everyone who directs traffic before school. My family greatly appreciates all of you for keeping our Westlake kids safe and for the early morning greetings and smiles.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I love it. Yeah, it's critical that we keep our community safe for all the pedestrians, for all the drivers, for all the above. So yeah, that's teamwork right there. And if you're ever looking for a way to volunteer at Westlake Charter School, just show up any morning you want. We'll give you a yellow vest right there at the flagpole. We'll put you right to work, and you can just wave like this and smile. It keeps things moving and it keeps people smiling. It's good. Well, hey, if you're out there in YouTube Landia and you want to drop a celebration or a comment on any of the topics coming up, you just keep celebrating. We'll keep reading them out loud into the live ether here. Is that the last one, Jen? All right. Team, I think we go through, all four of us have a presentation, and then I think we have our special guest as well. My presentation is, as it has been recently, all kind of about COVID. So I will talk about this new contact tracing methodology that the Sacramento County Public Health has released. But I want to show this this chart here. I'm not sure if you can see it, but right, this is the COVID case rates in Sacramento County since March of 2020 through the surge last winter, the surge in August, and this is that current surge that you saw literally down here is end of December. So we all, we're at the end of like winter break. We're like, oh, hey, we're going back to school. This surge looks kind of like the last surge. I guess it's we got to batten down the hatches a little bit, but we'll be okay. And then immediately overnight it went, whoo, and we jumped up to well over 100 new cases per day per 100,000 people in Sacramento. And it actually topped out at 229 new cases per day per 100,000 people in Sacramento. But you'll see right here, the reason I included this is you can see that it's taken a downturn. So we went from 229 cases per day per 100,000, then we're down to 200. 200 is still a lot. But I like the direction that thing's heading. They said it was going to go up and come right back down, and I'm hoping that this line keeps on going back down and things kind of restabilize and we can get back to where we thought we'd be, which was like, hey, let's get on campus and have some fun. I want to show that case count because, here's some people doing our weekly surveillance testing out there. We'll certainly keep that up. But one of the things I want to talk about today is group contact tracing. So back when we were having like one little case here and one little case there, we'd pick up the phone and we'd say, hey, I take a deep breath. Okay, heads up, your child was sitting next to another child who tested positive. And we had the time to do the contact tracing to check who was sitting next to who. And then we got that, who do you sit next to at lunch and who do you play with at recess? Well, I mean, we've gone, just through the roof in the amount of people who've contacted us and said, my child tested positive, they're home with me right now. So Sacramento County Public Health said, look, you need to prioritize, the real unmasked contact tracing, which for us is only, in the cafeteria, which we now have the doors wide open, those big rolling doors open, and better airflow going. And then, full contact sports, if you're unmasked in sports, which we're not, which is good. So what we need to do in Sacramento County Public Health's eyes is to basically group contact trace, which is interesting because just a week ago, I was receiving a lot of parent emails saying, we really would like to know if the person in our grade level who tested positive was in our classroom. We keep getting this notification from the school that says, hey, some of your grade level, you're like, nah, that's great. Was it in my classroom? And so Sacramento County Public Health says, look, we used to consider 6 feet of distance for 15 minutes close contact. So if I was next to Mrs. Batten for more than 15 minutes in a class, hey, we are now considered close contact. What Sacramento County Public Health says is, look, forget that. If I was in a room and I was COVID positive while I was in that room for more than 15 minutes, let's consider the whole room now a contact or an exposure. So starting today, today's Tuesday, starting today, we're doing group contact tracing, meaning you'll receive an email if anyone in your homeroom, let's start with kindergarten up, homeroom class or specialty class was contact COVID positive. In the middle school, same deal. In your advisory, your block, your humanities and math science blocks, or in your elective, right? And then same in the high school for each period that you're in. So for those students who travel from room to room, that's a lot of email contacts going out saying, hey, you don't know who, but somebody who is in your child's room. Then in the email that you'll receive from the group contact tracing, it says everybody who is considered exposed should test between 3 and 5 days after exposure. So if you receive an email that says, hey, today your child was in a room with somebody who tested COVID positive, 3 days from now to 5 days from now, your child should get tested for COVID. Your child can continue coming back to school per the Sacramento County Public Health guidelines, and then during that range of 3 to 5 days, get a COVID test and send your test results to the school. Now, the last caveat, I don't know if I put it on the slide or not, is there it is as long as you remain symptom-free, right? So if you find out your child was exposed and you're like, oh, it says right here we can go back to school, we just have to test in 3 to 5 days, great. 2 days later, your child starts getting symptoms, stay home, right? Don't come to school with symptoms, especially after a potential exposure. And then obviously your child tests positive, you would stay home as well and follow those guidelines that are inside the email. So we put together a fairly robust email so that you know where you can get testing, what type of testing you can use, when you should test, who you should contact when you do test. So this is a shift in protocols and practices. I mean, Ms. Houston and I have talked about it because she talks to a lot of families. I talk to a lot of families. Back when we were calling, it felt okay because we're like, hey, very personal touch. Hey, the school is calling you. Let's work. And now we're like, group email. Oh, it doesn't feel as personal, and we don't love that. But in the era of like, hey, let's get real-time information to people when they need it as soon as they can get it, we think we'll then be able to keep up with the contact tracing legitimately on a daily basis as this wave or this surge comes through. So if anybody has any questions on that, certainly you can pop them in the chat right now. We'll take those, and we'll keep moving forward. There's kind of lots of this work that's being unpacked right now. The Sacramento County Public Health produces their decision trees, and between the time we came back from January break till today, those decision trees have already changed multiple times. But we think we think the one we've got right now sticks for a couple of weeks. But I've been wrong before. So, Jen, any questions in the blurb about this one? All right. Yeah, Houston. Yeah, you got some.
Can I just ask one question?
Yeah.
You may have said this, but I missed it. Is there a different email for, I understand the classroom, but is there a different email for lunch?
No, but you are contact traced in the email covers that. Like, hey, if you're exposed this way or this way. So it's that one
It'll
email.
tell you though, like that's all I'm worried about is like the group thing goes out, but it's gonna say
It's going to say
it's
everyone
like
has to test. It's going to say everyone has to test. The testing regimens from the Sacramento County Public Health are now everyone tests day 3 to 5. Whereas before, what you're thinking was before it was unmasked students have to follow this protocol and masked students follow this protocol. And now Sacramento County Public Health said, I don't care if you're vaccinated, unvaccinated, masked or unmasked, follow these testing protocols because they've streamlined it for exactly this reason, for group contact tracing.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's all like, this is what, and honestly, like I look at it and was like, well, gosh, they've made it more testing restrictive for the vaccinated masked kid. And I think they did that to answer this question. It was like, look, get everybody on a testing regimen till we get through Omicron. I would suspect as this thing drops back off, I think Amber will return to that conversation as this surge drops down, and they'll go, okay, now unmasked, do the testing, masked, you can skip skis. But I think right now they're so overwhelmed, they're just like, oh, you were in a room, go do the test in day 3 to 5. I think that's what they're doing, but I would assume they would adjust it back, going forward. Yeah, okay. It's good. It's a good question. However, on that note, if my classroom sits next to your classroom in the cafeteria, you're going to have overlap contact tracing. You're just going to get that same somebody in your class email, though. Does that make sense? So you're still going to get this notification. And since it also includes your specialty cohort, it's going to be hard for you to tell where. You're not going to know which room, or it's just going to be like, got it, check. This is my exposure date. Watch for symptoms and know that I should test within 3 to 5 days. Cool. Gosh, I feel like there's more I want to unpack on that, but I'll let it go, and I'm sure it'll come up. Let's dive in. Oh, Houston, you're up next. What do we got happening in Wave this week, Ms. Houston?
So this week, I did put this in the weekly this week, the Great Kindness Challenge, which Westlake does every year on campus. It's a really fun kind of week on campus, and students and staff are doing different things. I was looking at the website and there's a family edition. So I'm like, we should do the family edition. And so you can see a small little picture of it there. But if you go to the Great Kindness Challenge, you can actually kind of sign your family up and you can get one of those. Or I actually also put a link to it in the weekly, so you can just print it out if you want to, or you can make it up yourself. Just be kind. That's really what it's all about. So I would love to see families sharing their family's kind acts on our Wave Facebook page. Doesn't have to be a picture, but it can be. You can just share something awesome your family did, or share anything really. Let's just have fun with it. Let's brighten everybody's week next week. And we are going to do some raffle prizes for everybody who participates, which should be fun. A lot of Westlake Charter School swag to give out. And then I did put a few kind acts that are really easy to do there, but you can really do anything you want to do. I think for us, especially in the current climate, emailing or making a card or anything for your teacher or a staff member is amazing. Let's just start doing that today. And that is the first kind act I would love everybody who's listening to participate in. But you can donate items to charity. I think if you drive around, you see some of those little free libraries around. Donate some books there, which is amazing right now for families when they're on walks to pick up. Do something for a neighbor, really anything you want to do. But I just want to have fun with this. Since we can't all be together right now, let's just spread kindness throughout our community.
Love it. Love that one so much.
And then we have another restaurant fundraiser coming up. This one, and I didn't put the date on there. I'm so sorry about that. I was so excited about it, about all the information. I didn't put the most important information. It's on the 27th, which is next Thursday. And that is at Panera. And the cool thing is it's all day. So I think that's why I forgot to put the date, because I was excited it was the entire day. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, if you want to do all three, that's amazing. If you only have time for one, that's wonderful. If you put in that little code when you order, or tell them you're with Westlake, if you go there to order, we get 20% back. These restaurant fundraisers have been really fun. And we've had families, they've been posting on the Wave Facebook page, like their dinner or the food they've picked up, and everybody's like sharing what they got.
Love it.
It's fun. So please participate if you want to. I love that it's all day. So Panera is really fun for breakfast, especially, or if you have a nice lunch break, it's a great way to give back. And then Dr. Ike, you talked about volunteers, what we need. The first one there is you can help with traffic. Before and after school, whatever you want to do, like he said, we'll take your help. Walking school bus desperately needs help right now. We have a great core group of students who walk every single day, and I need more help monitoring the situation. You know, we need somebody in the front, in the middle, and the back to get everybody there. We're making it work, but I would love more help. So if you can one day a week commit to walking with your student and this fantastic group of students you see there on the screen, it would be much appreciated. I'm always at Burberry Park at 7:45. So that's the top picture where you see the kids playing. They play games, they're running around in the grass. They all love it. They bring little balls that they throw around. Some of them, you know, just stand around and talk. They do lots of fun things. We walk together, and it's just a great way to work with students. Again, I hear a lot of parents saying, I miss being in the classroom. I promise this is just as good. I have fantastic conversations every single day with these students, and they make connections with students in different grades, different classes. And it's just a safe and very fun way to socialize, and then to get a walk-in in the morning. These students, you know, have generally spent a good 20 to 30 minutes out moving around. And I think it's a great way to start the day. You make connections with other adults. It's a really great way to start the day. So please consider it.
My little New Year's step count goal working in too. Like I come out there and get my steps on.
And we walk, you know, at a moderate pace on the way there. But then when I walk back to the park, I get, you know, a good quick walk in, and we're always back to the park before 8:30. So it's a really small time commitment if you're willing to help us. And then, as Dr. Ike talked about, we had a lot of plans for January. Obviously, those are going to be postponed, but we promise more opportunities are coming.
We were so excited when Ms. Houston and I got on a Google Meet, and we're like, well, what are we going to do now? Because we thought January 4th is our date. We're going to come back and design all these cool ways to get people back on campus. And we're like, I guess we'll postpone. But we got great ideas. We can't wait till this thing drops off and get everybody started to come back on campus. That was kind of a funny moment for us to be like, wah, wah. So stay tuned, families. Go do walking school bus. Help out with our traffic campaigns. And we'll bring you more opportunities very soon. Who's got... Ooh. High school happenings with Mrs. Batten. What's happening in high school, Mrs. Batten?
Before I jump into high school happenings, we have a question about high school. I was wondering, Dr. Ike, if I could toss it your way. Is that okay?
Sure. I'll take a question about high school.
We're here just asking about the high school location. You know, we've talked about our East Commerce location being kind of a temporary location. So parents wondering, you know, kind of where we are progress-wise on sites for maybe a more permanent location. Yeah. And then her son loves the current campus, but it's going to get crowded next year, I think. So I'll answer the crowded question first, and then do you want to do that?
Yeah.
We do love our East Commerce site, and Dr. Ike will talk to you, you know, about potential next steps. But we love that site so much, and I don't want to talk about moving out necessarily, because it's been a fun site for us, even though as we grow, we do, you know, have other needs. Next year, however, we have plenty of classroom spaces. So on site currently, which students may not be as aware of, over half of our classrooms are unused classroom spaces right now. So as far as spacing for next year, we are really in a good spot for our freshman and sophomore classes to be appropriately housed in East Commerce, both in classroom spaces, as well as the Oasis, the gym, the outdoor, and the commons as well. So no worries on that piece, but I'll toss it up.
The current location is bigger than you think. You go inside and you walk the halls while the kids are in class. You realize, oh my gosh, you know, 3/4 of the rooms are empty. Like you walk the halls, which I do, you know, every week I'm there, you know, popping around, and it's most of the classrooms are empty. So it's bigger inside than you think. But agreed, we don't want to be there forever, because we want to build a campus that is custom designed for the way we want our students to learn. We want indoor, outdoor learning opportunities, flexible spaces, kind of the way we designed the K-8, but kind of a grown-up version for the students. This just came out on the Natomas Buzz that the Natomas Unified School District is voting tomorrow night at their board meeting about a land acquisition over at the Arco Arena, Sleep Train Arena, 183-acre parcel out there that's getting divided up, and NUSD is trying to buy 10 acres tomorrow. All that work happened behind the scenes with the Natomas Unified School District for the last, 18 months. And I've been in communications with Superintendent Evans. Him and I have talked about, our land acquisition behind the scenes, their land acquisition behind the scenes. And so I would tell you, we've got a lot of behind the scenes work that you can't totally see yet because we haven't brought it out public with a letter of intent and a purchase sale agreement or a PSA on a piece of land. But I want you to know that each day in the last 2 weeks, we're watching things get closer and closer to the point where we may be at a board meeting near you talking about some very exciting news. We are currently working on a land acquisition piece right now, and we are talking about it with our board of directors and with the landowner and the property agents. And I can't talk about where the parcel of land is because that would affect our negotiation, but I would tell you that it's very close. We would love, the dream, I guess, would be like that you could find a piece of land that was, walking, biking, skateboarding distance from the K-8 so that you could share students' facilities back and forth, that high schoolers could come down and coach volleyball at the 8th grade. So our whole dream is to have this K-12 continuum, within a short throw from one another, and that's the piece we're working on right now. The work that we've been doing on this, I hope to be able to make public within the next several months. And then once that land is acquired, we'll be in negotiations with our partners on how to, build from there. Everybody wants to hear, right after I tell that little pitch about timelines, like, okay, I get it. You can't tell me the location because it'll affect negotiations. Tell me timelines. Well, I'm going to disappoint you once again because I can't, because I don't have $60 million to put toward a future development of a property. However, we did just hear the governor come out on Monday of last week with his budget proposal for the state of California, and there were some conversations around construction bond funds. So those are the types of things we love to see in the state of California. Although there's been a pandemic, last year's revenue was so strong in the state of California that we're actually seeing education funding increase potentially up to 5.5% in the next 18 months, which is wonderful. I know if you're like, 5%, whatever. It's a big deal. If you have a $10 million budget to go up 5%, it's a ton of cash. So if you're seeing funding escalate in the state of California and the government is starting to talk about a potential construction bonds, construction grants, construction dollars, that timing's real good for us. So maybe we button up a land acquisition, get ourselves a big piece of dirt. Maybe it's within walking, biking, skateboarding distance from here. That piece of dirt's ready for a building to plop onto it. Maybe the state of California and other entities come together with some construction money. That money comes together and there we go. We've got a beautiful high school facility. So that's the dream. Trust me, no one is sleeping on that job. And it is unfortunately just kind of behind closed doors until further notice. My dream is to be able to very soon put a big sign in that piece of dirt and say future home of Westlake Charter School and have everyone out there rallying around it, because I think you'll be very excited when it comes to fruition. So keep checking back with me. Whomever made that comment, I promise more to come. As early as 30 to 60 days, we might have something we could be talking about, like a letter of intent and a purchase sale agreement, a PSA. Just like Natomas Unified School District has a PSA that they're trying to approve at tomorrow's board meeting. That's kind of the process. So yeah, good question. Thank you so much. I've even got some preliminary architectural work that we did a couple years back, right before the pandemic, on what would a high school look like on 6 acres, 8 acres, 10 acres, 12 acres. Like, what would it look like? We worked with a wonderful architect who brought some of these concepts to fruition. So as we start peeling that onion, it hopefully goes quickly, and we'll start to see those pieces laid out as they come as that door opens up. Okay, more to come on that. You want to talk high school, Ms. Ben?
I would love to. And the parent who made the comment, I'm keeping it not, I'm assuming she's okay with me saying her name, Miss Broman, through the power of the response form said, thanks for the response. I'm glad to hear there's plenty of classroom space and the kids will still be there next year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, cool. We'll be there next
year.
year.
Love the virtual conversation that we get to have on this coffee talk.
So
it's so
cool.
fun.
So cool. All right. What's happening at high school, Miss Ben?
So I presented this at the board meeting, but I thought I'd bring a little bit of a different angle to it for the coffee talk as we talk about the end of the first semester and specifically looking at our freshman class. And really, I wanted to help, I just kind of highlight for our families how the freshman year is kind of make or break years. There's a ton of research out there. Today, I'm bringing some research forward from the University of California Consortium on School Research and the Washington Student Achievement Council, both of whom recently looked at data from freshman classes and use that data to develop a set of indicators on students' readiness to graduate at the end of 4 years. We call that on-time graduation, right? And the three indicators they came up with was an indicator around grades and having credits to promote to 10th, the correct credit number to promote 10th grade, attendance, and absences less than 8 days.
Not during a pandemic.
Not during a pandemic, right? And then connection to school. So that connection to student activities, clubs, and sports. And while all three of these indicators really each make up an equal third of that on-time graduation pie, today, as I just brought to Coffee Talk, I thought I'd focus specifically on grades and connection to school. Because I think as you are a parent who, is out there, maybe you have an 8th grader, maybe you have a 7th grader, 6th grader, and you're like, okay, I've heard about Westlake Charter High School sports. I've heard about flex blocks. I've heard about electives and A through G graduation requirements. What maybe sets the school apart? And I think that as we presented to the board on Thursday, these two pieces, what's happening around students' academic achievement and connection to school, are part of that what set us apart, make us a little bit different. And so I'll share that with you today. So I mentioned that our freshmen finished their first semester on December 16th. Each of those freshmen earned 4 grades. So when I talk about this percentage, it's based on total grades for all 130 of our freshmen. So 96% of those first semester grades were passing with a C or better. A piece that our families who are in the K-8 world, not quite to high school yet, may not know is that in K-8, we are using standards-based grading and articulating those grades with numbers in high school so that we're able to calculate a GPA for college, the transcript purposes and things like that. We do use letter grades. So we're using an A, B, C grade, and then an IE. So traditionally you see that F, D, or F. And I could have a whole separate presentation on the IE versus D or F, but that we do have those grades and students are receiving a GPA. So 96% of those first semester grades were passing with a C or better. Now, in preparation for the board presentation, I reached out to several of my high school principal people who I always say, so tell me, is this okay? How's this sound to you? And over and over again, they're like, that can't be right, Emily. That we know you're making that number up. I tend to sometimes overinflate numbers. I will tell you that 96% is a calculated, checked number. And it's because most schools would be so happy with 96%. For us, anything less than 100% of students passing is not acceptable. So when we look at our next steps, we are looking, our amazing MTSS team that we've highlighted several times on the Coffee Talk, we're working with them to develop protocols for each of those students. So any student that didn't pass the class in their first semester, we're developing a specific set of protocols for that student to ensure that we're tracking them into the second semester of the freshman year, but also that we're catching students as early as possible, right? So a student who last semester had potentially a lighter load, enter second semester with maybe a little bit of a heavier load for them based on their academic needs, that we're catching them at the point where they begin to struggle. We're putting interventions in place immediately and ensuring that they, in that second semester, again, going back to the indicator, with the credits necessary for promotion to 10th grade. Now, I can say that with 130 students, this is a pretty, I know each of those students. I know each of their names. I know exactly, you can ask me what their grades are. I can tell you what their grades are. What's really important to us is the scalability, right? So these protocols are something that we are going to do with fidelity in our freshman year. But when we're fully grown out, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th graders, these protocols will remain in place. And so when I talk about setting us apart, it's this piece, that pillar personalization that we know and love in the K-8. This is how that pillar is coming to life in our high school. And it just, I think, is a unique piece of our program. And then the other piece that we're looking at with our students is that 4-year planning with our counselor. So we do have a counselor on site who has a much lower than average in our area amount of student to counselor ratio. So she is working with each student, and starting in February, we'll begin the 4-year planning process with each of our families and students. So that's...
Hey, Ms. Batten, I'm sorry to chime in. It is so critical that we acknowledge and celebrate that 96% piece right there around this 9th grade year. All the research indicates that 85% of all high school graduates make the decision to drop out during their freshman year. So part of these on-time graduation indicators are really critical for 9th grade. Get them plugged into school culture, get them into a club, get them into a sport, and make sure they're passing their classes. And D's don't get degrees. I mean, if you got D's, that is as good as fail, because it won't get it. Although some schools will allow you to get a D to graduate from high school, it won't get you into a 4-year college. And so that's why we're putting all this effort. So when we say we have 96% with a C or better, that's 96% with a C or better, not letting the D's slip in and inflate the data. So I really think it's important we call that out, that this is work that's important for the 9th graders, but really this is what makes future 11th and 12th graders who are not dropping out, who are on their way to 4-year college applications. It's really exciting. It's good work, Ms. Batten.
It is, I think also, Doctor, I guess we go to the next indicator talking about, which talks a little bit more about school culture and connectiveness. That grade piece, having a culture of students passing classes in a very rigorous academic program, has a dramatic impact on our school culture. I had students, who hadn't been in school since maybe the middle of their 7th grade year, come into 9th grade and kind of regain footing, and how do I study for a test, and how do I take a test that's not on a screen that I actually have to write pencil and paper. And our team worked really hard to get those students reacquainted with those skills. But the culture on our campus, coming back in second semester, students gave each other advice on how to work in certain classes, and it was this culture of like, we can do this. We are going to do hard things together and support each other to get across the finish line, because that's what Westlake Charter High School Explorers do. So cool. Just, that has an impact on our school culture also.
Love it.
So on connection to campus, these are just some exciting stats that I wanted to share. So we talk about our students and their connectivity to campus, whether that's through clubs, student activities, or sports. And we want to, again, find that personalization piece, that not all the same cookie cutter doesn't fit for all students, and that it's our job to ensure that students are connected, that doesn't happen passively. So we, during our club rush in September, had 100% of our students sign up for at least one club. 61% of our students attended that masquerade that we talked about in the fall, and 35% of our 9th graders, with just our fall and winter seasons going, have our student athletes. And so those stats are things that we'll continue to monitor and meet with each student and make sure that they remain connected and plugged in, and that we continue to offer. So we talk about next steps. A piece for us is just ensuring that through student survey work, we're continuing to offer these connected pieces, whether they're student activities or clubs, even sports, that speak to the individual interests of our students. So that we've learned, through student survey that work this year, that there are some sports that they're interested in exploring that we have the ability to do. And we'll continue to use our student leadership team. So that student voice is such an incredibly important piece of our overall program. Our special guest, I'm going to jump off the stage.
Speaking of like getting students involved in sports and all the things, I was going to ask, you got percentages out there. What percentage of the high school students want us to have that high school dance as soon as Omicron falls off? So a pretty strong
100%.
percentage.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's. We have a special guest who just popped on the screen. For those of you at home, if you don't know this person, you totally should, because she is not only amazingly rocking 2nd grade teacherness here at the K-8 side of the house, but Maddie Folden is over on the high school side of the house, formerly assistant volleyball coach for the girls volleyball team, but about to be our boys head volleyball coach. True story?
Absolutely, you've got it right.
Welcome to the show, Ms. Fulton. How are you?
I'm great. That's a great way to start off, celebrating that I get to be a part of the high school team, right? For those that might not know me that are watching, I teach second grade by day and I'm now coach by night. So it's an exciting opportunity.
It's so great. It's so great. No, Ms. Fulton, how did you get roped into doing the volleyball gig in the fall with the girls? Were you just walking down the street minding your own business and somebody just pulled you in?
It was quite the opposite. I actually roped myself in and I eagerly volunteered. No, I did a lot of volleyball growing up. I did a lot of competitive traveling teams. Obviously, I love teaching the littles, but always wanted to dip my toe into the high school land, and being a part of the founding team this year was perfect opportunity to get to do that. So I happily joined the girls team this fall.
Give us a little peek behind the curtain, because you're on the K-8 side of the house. You're rocking second grade. You've been a part of this K-8 culture for so long. Like, as you kind of peek behind the curtain and you see what's it like at the high school right now, what's the vibe with the kids? Like, for those of us out here in YouTube land, like, tell us what the admin's not telling us. How are the kids? What's the jam?
For our high school kids or the K-8 kids?
No, the high school kids. What's a high school look like? How's it feel?
It feels good. I mean, as a teacher, it's a pretty cool opportunity to get to be around the big kids during the afternoons and, get to see a lot of the older siblings of past students I've had and also current students that I have. And it's, like I said, it's fun to get to be in both worlds at the same time. And I think that this year especially is exciting because it is a founding year and it is a development year. But despite it being such a fresh season for every sport this year, we've seen so much success with our sports programs already. And as a coach, that's a really exciting thing to see, but also just, as a member of the Explorer family, it's just cool to see our high school kids excited to engage in all these different things, because being on a founding team is sometimes a nerve-wracking thing to be a part of as a young person. So for the kids that are trying out, for the students that are coming out and participating in all these clubs that are being offered and joining teams for the first time, it's a really, really inspiring thing to see.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ms. Batten.
I just wanted to celebrate Coach Maddie for a second. It's so funny to call her Coach Maddie. I was like, Miss Fulton?
Yeah.
And this is such a in the weed celebration, but one of the we had Coach Margaret, our head coach, Coach Melissa, and Coach Maddie took on that assistant coaching role with our girls. And something that you would notice if you were at a girls volleyball game this fall is one of the girls would rotate off the court, and Coach Maddie would come over to them and give them like a quick 30-second kind of connection on, hey, when you were on the court, this happened, try this next time. And as a parent myself, I would watch that and be like, that's exactly what I would want from my developing player. I'd want this expert who my child trusts to be giving those in the moment coaching that was just private one-on-one with the students. And within days of being part of that girls team, Coach Maddie's name was echoing through our high school halls as one of the valuable adults. And so there's already some murmuring around the boys team.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. That's very flattering. Thank you. It's, I think, a cool spot for me to be at, because as a teacher, right, coaching is kind of that next natural step, and a lot of those skills are so easily transferable. And I think that is going to make our boys team this year a really comfortable place to be, because it's like another Westlake family. Like, you have your classroom family, you've got now the high school family, and our sports teams are going to be another sort of extension of that Westlake family.
Which is exactly why they talk about, being part of a sport as a social emotional learning support, being connected to school, why it's so positive, how it affects dropout rates, how it affects student engagement rates. Like you said, you're part of a extended family. Coach Fulton, one other thought is, when I watched the girls play in the fall, I know that some of those girls hadn't played a lot. They're part of a founding team, and they did incredibly well, both athletic. They did well athletically. They won some games, which is great. But what I really noticed was, like, those kids cheered for each other, played hard, hustled. They seem to be learning and getting better every game. They just had such strong character. They had such strong on court attitudes. Was that something you guys worked on? Is it just like They brought it. How did that happen?
Yeah. So that's, to me, the beauty of being on a sports team. It's so different than being a part of any other club or any other organization, because you do focus on the physical side of it, which is health and wellness, and learning how to appropriately do different exercises and learn different ways to be active and train different parts of your body to help do the things that you want to do on the court. But it's also a great way to connect with your peers, to work on some teamwork skills, and to learn different things that are valuable for not just in school or not just in sport, but things that are great for life, right? So it's a great outlet for stress, right? With all of our kiddos that are working their booties off during the daytime at that high school. I saw some really great stats earlier in your slideshow that were really, really cool to see. But yeah, it focuses on not just that athletic, skill building side, but also that, like you said, SEL component where you are meeting new people, you are potentially making new friends, you are learning to communicate with other people in an efficient way, but in a way that also allows you to achieve, a collaborative goal.
Yeah. Coping with frustration, dealing with failure. We're all going to lose a game. We're all going to miss a shot. We're all going to, those are amazing skills. It's funny because our mission statement talks about the balance between academic and social emotional. In this case, it's like athletics substitutes for academics and social emotional. That's really cool, man.
Well, and one of the biggest takeaways from our girls' season that I am really excited to apply to our boys' season was a lot of the feedback that we got from other teams about our team. At the beginning of the year, right, you start off with potentially having never been on a volleyball court before, not knowing where you're supposed to stand and how to use the ball to, and how you go to your first game, and even the referees understood that this is our first year as a high school, let alone this being our first year as a team, let alone it being your first time you've probably ever done anything like this before, and seeing those same referees, those same coaches opposite us at the end of the season. And they just had nothing but fabulous things to say about the way that our girls just carry themselves on and off the court, the way that they have learned and developed physically with their skills. The level of play from the beginning of the season to the end of the season was truly inspiring. And a lot of people, not even in the Westlake family, were commenting on it and just giving so many wonderful accolades to our girls. And it was just, fabulous thing to be a part of.
So it's a good segue. We wrapped up a girls volleyball season. It was fantastic. Let's go forward and see what we got coming up next. Let's talk boys volleyball coming up. What do you got for us, Coach?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are thinking, especially all the boys out there right now who are probably involved in basketball, involved in soccer, involved in a lot of other stuff right now, right? Why join this other brand new team that maybe you've never played before, like a lot of our girls had? And for me, I can speak from experience. I was a competitive player throughout high school, and it was a huge part of my high school career. It was, great to see all my friends after school and get to be a part of something, but it truly is a fun game to play, at the very least. But it's a non-contact sport that allows you to build skills that are very different from other sports. And I think that that's an opportunity that it's just really unique. And it does provide that outlet for stress. It does allow you to form bonds with your peers and learn different leadership skills that, eventually look great on something like a resume or, a college application. Having been a part of a team, it speaks to you as a whole person and not just you as, the academic person who did a great job at Westlake, right? There's a lot to say for being a part of that team, but it's also really cool to be a part of the founding team, right? It's just a great opportunity all around. But moving forward, we've got some preseason opportunities that I'm really excited about. We actually tomorrow, which would be Wednesday the 19th, I'm going to do just a little info session with parents and students, whoever wants to join on Google Meet. I'm happy to send that info out again. But then to physically get out there and get started, we'll be at the Westlake Charter High School gym in the meantime on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week after school from just 4 to 5 for some open gym opportunities to get out on the court, learn how to put the net up, how to orient ourselves around the court, but also to maybe start some conditioning and see where our skills are at so that we can start to work together and see who's excited to come on out and play, who is ready to join the team, and start getting our guys out there to practice some skills.
So if I've never played before, Coach Matt, like if I've never played before, I could show up next week and just kind of come out and check it out.
Yeah, that open gym is really a check it out kind of opportunity. Even if you're not sure if you want to play, come out, come see what it'll be like, kind of like me, dip your toe in the water. Yeah. You don't have to be fully committed to try and to see how it goes. The more the merrier. We will start official practices on Monday, the 31st. Those practices, the expectation is that we'll go Monday through Thursday. We get Fridays off, and we'll be at the high school gym while the boys basketball season is finishing over at the K8, and then we get to swap spaces. And it'll be from 4:15 to 6 o'clock, regular sort of schedule. I'm excited. Yeah. Come out. Come try out. Come see me. Let's meet.
We're excited.
Let's play.
Hey, Maddie, if I got questions, I'm out in the audience today. If I've got questions, I'm like, I want to reach out. Can we email you, or where do we reach out to?
Right. Yeah, I'm setting up a Class Dojo account once we get the gentlemen that are interested and would like to commit. But until then, please feel free to send me an email. You can find it on the Westlake website. Yep. I'm sure we can drop it in here somewhere.
Totally. Or you can, hit us up at admin at Westlake Charter. We'll forward it on to Coach Maddie. Hey, Coach Maddie, thanks for being out here today at Coffee Talk, man. This is what a pleasure, and a great job on your fall season, and we're all looking forward to some spring volleyball.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Right on. You're awesome. All right, team. Well, hey, the last couple slides we got out here, we got Mrs. Caillou. You want to just kind of rock some positive behavior, be a strong way to close, and we'll wrap it up for the night.
Yeah, and I'll keep it short, but I just wanted to come out last month. I came out and said, we're going to do these things, and we did these things. And so I just wanted to kind of report back. In the first picture here is our one of our kindergarten classes, Mrs. Rice's. And one of the things that we've been focusing on is just positive behavior around campus. And each classroom has their own set of goals that they've set together as they came back from winter break. So maybe it was the goal that, like, in their classroom, they're like, the first time our teacher calls for attention, we get attention, and they can earn a stamp on their passport. Well, the kids are so motivated by this that I've seen just such positive behavior around campus. Kids are like, we only need 2 more stamps, Mrs. Caillou. And I've had multiple kids come by today and say, we earned it. And they're earning things that they get to decide as a class what they want. So some are getting extra activity time. Some are going on a little venture over to the park next door and having a little field lesson. And so it's motivating our students to show positive behavior, and it's brought this positivity to campus, which is, you can feel it as you walk around. The other part in just the middle here is I wanted to focus on 4th and 5th grade. So many times our 4th and 5th graders are kind of in the middle, and we're like middle school and these little people. And then you're like, these 4th and 5th graders are great leaders. And so in the middle picture here is Mr. Malov and a group of 4th and 5th graders that have come together to help us with activity time. And their goal is to give us information, because they're the ones experiencing it, and they are awesome. They've spent time with me and Mr. Malov, and they are just sharing how to make things better. Maybe you could think about this, and here's some positive things, and here's some things we could improve on. And their language is so powerful. And so, again, positive and getting kids to be a part of that. And the last celebration and just about positive behavior is our coach, Sterling, is our assistant middle school dean. It's hard to see in that picture, but coach is actually inside an advisory classroom, just talking to students and building relationships. Coach Sterling knows every middle schooler by name. He taught them in PE. And as he walks around our middle school campus, he's high-fiving, he's checking in with people. And it's really caused this, just another adult that cares about kids, that's causing building relationships and really making sure that the social emotional part of our students is being met. And so I just wanted to come back and report about positive behavior. We're moving in that positive direction together, and it's a team effort from kids to all of our staff. So I'm proud of the work that the K8's working on right now.
Yeah, it does feel really good. It does feel, and I'm hearing it all across the board. I'm hearing it from teachers and staff members who are saying, gosh, I feel like we've turned the corner. There's something about coming back from winter break. A lot of the students, like, they're like, oh, we're in a groove now. We get it. We're in school. We know how to behave in school. You know, we came back in the fall. So many people hadn't been in school for so long, and I feel like we're getting in our groove. So like the positive behavior chart, all the work we're doing, and Coach Sterling is, I mean, that guy is great. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Well, thanks for reporting on that, Mrs. Kaya. Team, I know we're like a little over time, but like, who cares? It's just us jamming on YouTube. Is there anything out there in the forum that we should respond to, you guys? Should we just make something up? No, we should probably sign off. Anybody got any last thoughts before we go? All right. Hey, families out there in YouTube Landia, we totally appreciate you following along on the journey. It was super fun to have Coach Maddie here. But, you know, if we touched on a topic and you want to talk more about it, if you have more questions, thoughts, or concerns, you can reach us at admin@westlakecharter.com. Even if it's for Amber Houston and the Wave team, hey, just the one-stop shop. Throw it out to admin@westlakecharter.com. I'll forward it to Houston. We are just one big family, all working together for all of our families. So thank you for being here. Thanks for coming to Coffee Talk. Happy 2022. We're going to crush this thing. I feel like it's going to be a great year. And as always, let's explore. All right. Thanks, everybody. We're going to sign off the YouTube.